This is one of my brood mares that her due date was on the 4th, so she's carrying over. I like to have them in a stall at night when they get this close to their due date because they like to have them at night. And I don't want to risk them having it outside when it's cool and damp out. I try to get up every 2 hours through the night watching them or taking a peek at them. And I was coming out for my routine 10 o'clock hay snack and watering the brood mares or whatever. And she was in her stall groaning and moaning. I said, oh, I knew what was up. And I actually helped pull this one out and grab right a hold of their front legs and help Mama push them. She pushes while I pull, and it's amazing. It takes generally 45 minutes or so before they can get on their feet and be stable. Usually takes them a little longer than that to actually be able to walk around. They're usually just standing there trying to hold their balance.
On the farm we have about 45-50 horses. With all the babies that will be born, we'll probably have close to 50. We have really long days. We start early in the morning and late at night, so.
My grandfather started breeding horses as soon as he started getting into it in 1958. He was breeding mares then and started right in with babies.
He got into race horses, had pretty good success there. I think he had over 1,000 wins himself. And then my father started when he was, well, started working here when he was young, 13. Started driving when he was 16.
I was in the 7th grade and I felt like I was wasting my time in school because all I wanted to do was be at the farm working with the horses. I'm actually the 9th generation to run this property right here.
So it's been a family tradition for a while. I just want to keep it going. I feel like it's my time to shine, so I feel like it would be good to keep the legacy going.
They used to set up one of those little Tykes yellow swings from the stall when I was little, put me in a swing, and I'd swing out here when I was little. So I've been out here since I was born. I love it.
It's Fox Ridge Joey. He was my first win that I've had driving last year at Cumberland Fair.
Down the stretch they come. Fox Ridge Joey, swim, shark, swim. On the outside, rock the night away. Fox Ridge Joey, a tremendous mile.
I've trained him since he was a 2-year-old. We get along pretty good. Pretty good horse. Haying usually starts like the end of May, 1st of June. First you gotta mow it down, and then you tet it out so it spreads out so the sun will dry it. And you tet it twice so it flips both sides of it. Then you rake it up into windrows, and then you bale it with a baler and tractor. And it kicks it up into the wagon. And then we bring it here, put it on the conveyors, and it goes upstairs and we stack it. Over the course of the summer we try to do anywhere between 10 and 10,000 bales, 10, 12,000 bales.
That's me when I was just a little kid. My brother Mark, actually this is my cousin Bruce Ranger, who's one of the best drivers in the United States. He's got over 8,000 wins. We had a lot of fun when we were kids. A lot of fun. Growing up on the farm. I'm afraid I'd be the black sheep of the family if I tried to sell the farm, but we certainly want to try to keep it going. We want harness racing to continue in the state of Maine and it's tough to keep the farm going. And it takes a lot of work,
A happy horse is a good horse, and I figure they'll do the best for you if you keep them happy. That's what I try to do. Actually, I jogged my first horse when I was 5 years old. Grew up in the sport with my father. He brought me along in the sport, and I was in and out of it for a few years. Drove transport truck, and 7 years ago, my wife and I decided this is what made me happy. This is what, I enjoy coming to work, working with the horses, and we've been doing it ever since, full time. I train 23 horses here at Windsor Fair. We race primarily in Maine, Scarborough, mostly in Bangor. And the fairs start up in August. We'll do most of the fairs and you know, try to get, you know, race each horse once a week, and whether it be Scarborough or Bangor, that's what we try to accomplish. Right now we're tops in Maine, and we try to work hard to try to stay there.
Our business is training and racing standardbred racehorses. We usually take care of from between like 18 horses to about, the highest we've ever gone is 30. They're really great to be around. Some of them are more like people than they are horses. They have their own personalities and temperaments, and they're a lot of fun. I really like it.
Every horse is different, just like every human being is different. And you treat a horse like a human being. It's just a matter of adjusting to that horse when they come to your barn and knowing what they like and what they don't like.
My favorite horse is Fox Valley Lecter. He's my baby. I really love him. And he's also my riding horse.
This is my horse here, Terramount Louie. He's my best friend. I love jogging him. Nice horse to jog. When you're out jogging a horse, you want to just keep them calm and just let them roll along. It's not like racing where you have to push them. Fun out going out there and being able to jog horses and being able to jog nice horses.
I raise two beautiful kids in this industry, going by this industry, with this industry, so it's very much a family affair.
My grandfather been doing it for a long time, and then carried on to my dad, and now it's going to carry on to me and my sister.
Having my kids involved is actually phenomenal. It's like a lot of people go to work every day and their kids are not there. And you know, having my kids with me at work, working with me, working beside me is phenomenal. It's quite an experience.
I think it's very important to our family. It brings us closer, I think, because this is something we all have in common.
Back in the day, folks loved a fast horse, and so you'd have that racing on the roads. A farmer would have a horse that might even be a working horse, but would end up going to the fairgrounds. Like I've heard the story about a man from Monroe who had a horse that he would take to the fair down in Belfast. And so this horse would literally haul his wagon down with whatever he had going for other livestock, and when he got there, he would then hitch his sulky up to this horse and race the horse. Harness racing in Maine takes us back to 1819 with the horse Winthrop Messenger. And this is the horse that came over from England on a ship and got off the ship in Philadelphia and jumped off the ship where all these other horses are all dragging and going. So this is the horse that started a lot of the size that came to the standardbred. And there were a number of horses that really became the basis for harness racing in Maine and the quality of horses. And then what happened, a lot of the early agricultural fairs would end up buying their fairgrounds, but they would also have a trotting track. And when you start going back to probably sometime around in the 1860s or whatever, maybe a little earlier, going up through about 1930, there were probably 105 Maine towns, maybe a few more, that supported trotting tracks. And today, I think if you count them up, there's about, there's probably 10 or 11 tracks that exist today, where you've got the private tracks of Bangor and Scarborough Downs, and then you have the tracks that are at the agricultural fairs throughout Maine.
Harness racing is one of the oldest sports in Maine, or the country. Thoroughbred racing is European, and standardbred harness racing is all American. Since one farmer thought he had a faster buggy horse than the farmer down the road, we've been racing horses, trotters and pacers. Oh, by the way, do you know that on the night that Paul Revere made that famous ride, you know what he rode for a horse? A Narragansett pacer. Brand new to the country. Well, I'm a farrier. Farrier just shoes horses. And I've shod over the years, I've shod everything from draft horses to dressage to standardbred race horses. And it was about 35 years ago, I decided I'm just going to shoe standardbred horses. I specialize in standardbreds. They're intelligent, they're a top athlete, and they try to oblige you. They do, yeah. And these standardbreds are balanced, just like the tires on the front of your car. We talk to the trainer on what the horse is doing, and they'll tell us that he's not reaching far enough, or he's cross-firing, or he's interfering somewhere, he's way too high, he needs to go lower. And we make alterations to allow for that. There's a shoe. I just took it off this horse right here. And if you look at the shoe, he's wearing a little bit more around the outside and so forth. And generally that indicates that he's a little off in the hocks. If it's down on the toe, if he's wearing the toe off, generally it's the stifles. And not only do I look at this side of the shoe, the ground side of the shoe, I'll turn the shoe over and I'll look at the foot side of the shoe. And look at this shoe and feel it right there. You can feel a groove in it where the foot has been wearing on the shoe. It's a continual thing. A foot is a living thing, and it's live. It is working back and forth. When they hit the ground, it expands, contracts, and it's continually changing. A horse that's 2 years old has got an entirely different foot by the time he's 3.5, 4 years old. You find that out over a long period of time. And it takes a long time for a farrier to acquire these different things. I grew up in farm country right over in Gorham. It's a rather nice way for a child to grow up on a farm. They learned the importance of an animal and the care and the love that you give them and what they give you back. My grandfather raced horses. My father raced horses and shod his own horses, and 1 or 2 for a neighbor once in a while. And I've been shoeing for 46 years, and I got a grandson that can shoe a horse. He's 26 years old, and next month he's going to graduate from the London Royal Veterinary College of London, England. And he's going to be a full-fledged veterinary. I'm pretty proud of the boy. It's been our life for generations, and I'm just not milking cows on the side like my father did. I don't want to milk cows. Well, I was only 14 years old. There was a fellow down the road, a farmer down the road that had a blacksmith shop, and he was retiring. And Dad bought me that blacksmith shop when I was only 14 years old. And I can remember it just as if it was this morning, rambling down the road with that old farm old tractor, that dirt road, and loaded up my anvil, my forge, and boy, I thought I was quite a fella. Yeah, and I brought it back to the farm and set it up, and I started making things and so forth, but here I am. I like going to the different farms that I go to and serve. Been serving them for 46 years. It's hard. There's a certain amount of loyalty that people you've known that's almost like family to you, you know. And we generally start our foals on a 6-week trimming program. Even though they're only 6 weeks old, they start getting their feet handled and trimmed, and by the time they are ready to be shod, they pretty well know what it's all about. When they're yearlings, we put their first shoe on when they're 1.5 years, not quite 2 years old, because we're getting them ready for the 2-year-old stake races. The breeding part of it is keeping our farms going. The farms, the local farms in the surrounding area, a big part of this. We cannot survive without them, and they can't survive without us. We're kind of in trouble right now, trying to keep up with the other gambling establishments. Things have got to change somehow. There won't be any farms left, or I don't know, I even question if we'll be here. In the 1950s, Maine lost sheep farming. Every town had a spinning mill in it. In the 1960s, we lost poultry farming. In the 1980s, we lost hogs, pigs. In the 90s, we lost dairy and beef farming. This is the last of our industry right here when it comes to animals. This is it. There's no more. I hope that our state representatives in Augusta and so forth, I hope they realize this, that I hope we don't go in the way of the dinosaurs. To me, it's a way of life that should be preserved somehow. And this racetrack right here and the fair tracks that we have is the last of it. They're trying to preserve life as it's always been. If you walk through the barn area here, you're looking at families. You're looking at families. If we lose this racetrack for whatever reason, harness racing is going to collapse. I fear it. There's no way in the world you could maintain a stable of horses and just race at the Maine fairs.
There is an ecology of horse racing. Horse racing is not just about that 2 minutes the horse is on the racetrack. It's all the other people that work in this industry, like veterinarians, farriers, people that sell trucks and trailers. I mean, there's a whole economy to it. So I think trying to preserve that economy, that sort of Maine industry, is important. And you know, these babies, they're made in Maine, and they race in the Maine Sire Stakes. You know, I've loved horses my whole life. I've had horses my whole life, and I think I went to work for a veterinarian when I was 14, washing dogs and cleaning kennels, and that was it. I was hooked. I went to veterinary school. I had some thoughts about doing small animal, but I really love the horses. If you had to describe what I do for a living, I'm like a sports medicine doctor for horses. I work on horses of all different varieties. I work on race horses, I work on jumpers, I work on dressage horses, I work on quarter horses, reining horses. But I mean, I work mostly on horses that do something for a living. You know, I feed them right, I make sure they're wormed, I keep them vaccinated. You know, we work very hard on trying to keep them sound. So, I mean, they're athletes, they have different musculoskeletal issues, so the shoeing is very important. You know, how we train them is very important. Even breeding, I mean, you know, you want to try to strive for proper conformation, because a horse that has good conformation has less likelihood of injury. So, you know, my biggest thing is to keep them healthy and happy. They need to be happy, and they deserve to be happy. I mean, I frequently tell my clients, listen, you know, the horse didn't ask for this. We asked him to do it, so we owe him. It's a family business. My husband's father was in it, my husband's in it, both my stepsons are in it. I mean, they're raising their families to be involved in racing, involved in raising horses. You know, they live a farm life. I mean, it's a hard life. I mean, it's 7 days a week. There's no vacations, but we love it, you know. I still get up in the morning and want to go to work. Maybe not work so hard, maybe have a morning or two to sleep in. Before we started going to Delaware in the winter, we would work our butts off all summer long, and then when winter came, you know, you're trying to live off what you put aside, and it's pretty impossible. I mean, I see it in the people that stay here, you know. We need to have more year-round racing, and that's the only way that it's going to happen. It's very hard to make a living here. And we've kind of been holding our breath and trying to tread water and trying to make income, you know, in Delaware in the winter in order to stay here, and it's just not feasible anymore. I mean, we just don't see the future. So it's pretty heartbreaking, because I mean, for 3 months out of the year, there's no place in the world like this. But the cost of keeping horses here has just gotten unbelievable. So we have to start thinking about, you know, dispersing this entire complex that we have. So we put the clinic on the market, and we're putting the house on the market, and my neighbor actually is developing that property there. And there'll be some very expensive homes there. So that's what's going on, you know. I mean, this is the last summer with all my mares and foals here. Kind of tough. That's the thing that I feel most strongly about, is I would like to see there be a future here for the people in my industry, so that they can continue raising their families and staying here and not have to leave.
I've been
doing harness racing for 7 years this month. My cousin, Charlene Cushing, has been doing it her entire life and just hung out with her a lot. I took a liking to it, and then I kind of jumped in and was going to do a test drive for like a summer and just continued it on because I loved it that much. The groom is pretty much the second person in line at the barn that gets there, makes sure the horses are fed. Then I come in, clean some stalls, pull each horse out, brush them up, give them their daily needs, wrapping their legs, take the race horses out that are racing for the day, brush them up, put their race halter on, head to the track, race our horses for the afternoon. Usually it's around feed time when we get home, 6:30. Feed up, supper time. By the time you know it, it's 7:30 and the chores are done for the day. You get to go home, wake up and do it all again the next day. Last year I received the Groom of the Year award by the Maine Harness Horsemen's Association. Out of 100 grooms in the state, I was elected to be the first recipient of it. It's not about the money, it's just having fun and doing what you love, caring for horses.
Lots of times when I drive a horse, I'll go up and ask the owner, is there anything special I need to know about this horse? Does he have any, bad habits or something like that? I just try to get the general information about him, whatever, and then, they'll say, oh, this horse really loves his front end, put him on the front end, or he's better at the one run, just wait for the end and try to come back. So you just try to take the information they give you and just work with it, You're trying to outthink the other drivers and you're trying to outthink the horse.
And work with the horse to do that.
So.
We got married because...
Oh, we loved each other.
yeah, that was right. That was right. Yeah, no, that's why we got married. Delete that part. The first time I drove a horse, I was 17. I drove up to Union. The horse's name, I think, was Canula. I didn't have any glasses or any gloves, but I remember Loring Norton was on the sidelines. He says, she'll be all right, she just needs some glasses and some gloves. But that was my first jaunt at it. I remember the first time I trained, because everybody was out watching, because not many girls did it then. So it was pretty exciting to go out and train at Lewiston, and my dad was watching, so that was really cool.
My uncle had a couple racehorses or whatever, so in the summertime I used to go down and help him on the farm and started jogging a few horses for him or whatever. So I was like late, maybe when I was 15 or something like that, before I really got in the business, whatever. Then I graduated in '80 and got my license about that same time, started driving. You gotta be, willing to take a few risks, but yet you gotta be smart enough, you've got a bad horse or whatever, you got 7 other people out there, not to put yourself in a situation where you get other people hurt or whatever. That ground's awful hard, I've been on it enough times, whatever, that, you just try to be safe out there, You ain't gotta be rubbing and banging each other. Just give yourself some room. Just try to be safe. That's the most important part of it.
We try to bring people's horses. They're nice, not supposed to end up to bring them back all in one piece, safe and sound. I think they want you to do well, but yet the main priority is to bring them back in one piece. I think you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself to be a driver. I think there's definitely mind over matter. It's if you don't have any confidence in yourself, I think you're going to get yourself beat on the track.
And reigned to victory today by the state of Maine native Kelly Kays.
I'd like to get the more of the younger crowd out. I think that's what we've lost over the years is, a lot of people come to the races because the grandparents or something like that brought them or whatever. And I don't know, some people, I think they want to go to the stock cars to watch the crash up, but that's not really the sport of it. To, crash them up like, we get hurt out there, whatever, and other people do. I think that, the thrill of just, watching the horses and getting up close on the fence, I think, a lot of times this day and age, everybody watches from the TV, and I think if you get on the fence and watch it, you get a lot more of the thrill of the horses going by and the horse pounding on the track.
I've had 3 children. One of them passed away at a young age, and I have my son Dustin, who's working at the Poconos right now, my daughter Kelsey, who's working with us and doing a really good job at grooming and helping us at the barn. So she's looking like she's on her way to maybe filling my shoes, I hope. It's in her blood. I wouldn't be surprised if she does.
We married in, 86? 87, I guess it was. We enjoyed each other's company and whatever, and we worked together at the barn all day. And
I think we respect each other's opinion, too. I ask him for opinion, he asks me, and he definitely, I think he respects me and I respect him. I think that's a big thing with it.
It's been a good sport for us over the years. We made a good living. We've you know, travel up and down the eastern seaboard, and you know, we've made a good living over the years and enjoyed what we're doing every day. You know, we're outside and not like we're cooped up every day, so it's been a nice sport for us.
Maine is definitely home. That's where my family is, and that's, you know, where we come from. That's where I made my name, and I think where my husband made his name. So Maine always has a special place in our hearts. So no matter where we go, Maine is home.
Horsemen are very resourceful. We're diehards. We love our animals, we love the sport, and we're going to keep going just as far as we can.